cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
Do you ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Casey, can you tell me, do you know what the toll of 4 fourth down attempts inside the red zone can do to a man? Welcome to the View from C-Deck. And it's been a hell of a weekend for Ohio State fans and a hell of a night. The emotions were up and down like this. You and I were going back and forth. I'm going back with my other friends. At one point I say, fire this asshole about Ryan Day, because when he ran that effing jet sweep on 4th down, I wanted him fired in that moment. But the Buckeyes come out 17-14 winners. Push on the spread, under hits. We called that basically exactly. What are you thinking though after Saturday night? Take me through. I know how you are. Take me through your neighbors' lives.
Yeah, I was through the roof for sure, man. I mean, I never give up on games. Like I bet 75% of Buckeye Nation thought it was over when we did not convert down. But I mean, I know there's always a chance we get that ball back. I'm like, well, if we score here, it's going to give so much confidence to Mccord moving forward. Hopefully today in Mccord moving forward. I mean, there's obviously a lot to work on, but at the end of the day, this was statistically one of the best offenses in the country. They were averaging 46 points a game. They're really efficient. We held them to 14. They were gassed by the end of this game because they were on the field for 35 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I was very, very impressed by the defense. The offense struggled a little bit, but that's a legit defense there in Notre Dame. And
secondary, especially their back seven was nice.
Yeah. I was a little upset that Marv didn't get as much done, but he did get hurt midway through the game there, holding our breaths. But all in all, we won a top 10 matchup on the road at night. It's a lot to work on moving forward. The bye came at a perfect moment.
Yes, that's the best part. We got this bye exactly when we needed it, because I think it's good. We can use the weeks to still can keep the momentum. I mean, you don't want to lose the momentum of it, but I think it was such a physical game, and we got so much confidence off of that and plus the hate they got the week before we even get started. Day going full Stone Cold Steve Austin at the end of the night, yelling at Lou Holtz. It was fantastic. I loved it. I'm all about it.
That right there, man. If you were, say what you will, I've always been a Day backer, and like you said, that play calling was a little sketchy at times, but that had to get you fired. That had to get you fired up.
I mean, some people are acting like it was an embarrassment, and I'm just like, dude, what? One, we all kind of criticize the guy a lot for like being too coach speaky all the time and not wanting to show his true colors. He showed it there. Now, maybe it shows some flaw, not flaws, I guess, but, things that maybe aren't ideal for a head coach to feel. But I don't care. Your players got to love it. As a player, you got to love it. The players, you saw a bunch of the recruits on Twitter saying how much they loved it. And F. Lou Holtz, man.
Yeah. I can't remember which alumni it was, but one of the tweets was like, tell Coach Day Lou Holtz has been in bed for hours.
Oh, that's what a lot of Reddit people are saying too. Like, Lou Holtz has been asleep for 2 hours and is going to go to Bob Evans in the morning and not realize he even said that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we start out and let's go back to the beginning. The first half, there really isn't much to talk about. It was not super well played, but not poorly played. Good defense on both sides. Both coaches in the first half, though, we have drives. Where we get into the red zone, Notre Dame's first drive, get into the red zone, get faced with the 4th and 1, and go for it and fail. and what should be pretty much layup field goals. Now, we ended up seeing Notre Dame's kicker miss another field goal in the first half, but it was a little longer out. And maybe that was it. He's only 3 of 6 on the season coming in, and he misses that one, so maybe there's no confidence. But Freeman also was committed. He said before the game, we're going for it every 4th and 1. Well, I think he wanted those 3 points back at the end, Casey. What do you think about this this new age aggression in college football where we have to score the touchdown.
Yeah, I am completely with you on that. In these big games, I mean, how often does it come down to the last possession?
Right.
Like,
what do you think the coach on your shirt would say right now, Coach Jim Tressel?
that's right. Oh, he'd be kicking field goals all day long, man. But he always had one of the best kickers in the country, it seemed like. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I knew Dave was not going to go kick field goal on 4th and 1 when we had it either. Like, that would have shocked me if he kicked it, but he should have.
Yes. Well, the game's going. I mean, you could tell almost immediately, especially after Notre Dame's first drive, and even ours ate up a little bit of clock our first drive, even though we didn't go too far. That this was going to be a low-scoring game. These are long possessions. Like, there's not going to be enough possessions to get a big blowout going. So 3 points matters in those kind of games, and clearly it ended up mattering huge at the end.
I knew after each one of our first possessions, the under is going to hit.
Oh yes. Well, I mean, we thought so before, but then as I was getting closer and closer to the game, I was reading more and more people's thoughts. I was like, maybe these two offenses are too good, and they're going to put up some points, like enough to go the over. And then, yeah, like you said, after the first 2 possessions, I'm like, this is going to be way under. Like, we're going to maybe get to 20.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. That field goal, we would have only been down 1 at the end of the game, and it would have been guaranteed chip shot field goal. Boom, game over.
Or we're still down 4 because they kicked theirs too. This is what we see. We've talked about it before, but they say all these coaches are like, oh no, we have to score these touchdowns because of the new era of game. Well, one, the new clock rules should curb you back a little bit because there's less possessions, so you don't have to score touchdowns to keep up all the time. But 2, losing those 3 points is way, way, way more detrimental than not getting the extra 4. Like, even if you convert these, you're not guaranteed a touchdown, especially where Freeman was on it. Like, yeah, we're there. Like, either we score the touchdown or not. That's more of a, I can understand it. Plus, the opponent's pinned back at their own 1 yard line if you don't succeed. But like, he's at like the 16, and I remember I was watching our game versus Michigan in 2016, and we actually hilariously we ended up missing this field goal on this drive. But our second to last drive against Michigan, down 3, Urban goes for it on like the 16-yard line, something like that. And we barely get it. And I was like, I forgot about that. I was like, why on earth did he go for it? And then we ended up having to kick a field goal anyway. And that's what I was thinking on watching. I'm like, you're not guaranteed anything. Why are you going for it?
You forgot about it because we won.
Yes.
We lost.
That's what's going to be a lot about this game is people are going to remember the gaffes by Notre Dame and forget about the gaffes on our side because we won. But we're not going to forget about it. So we're going to talk more. Second half comes. We come out smoking because we get a stop, and then Travion takes it, houses a 61-yarder, half of our rushing yards on the night on that one play, by the way, which we'll talk about a little more later. But Travion, we'll have to give him his props again. He's looked like the Travion from pre-Penn State his freshman year, where he is just dangerous and electric. And I wish we would have given him the ball more, but of course we didn't really have the ball in the second half to do it after that run.
Yeah. Which it never would ever say a long touchdown is a bad thing. It was great, but it had a negative effect in a way too.
Mm-hmm.
The defense had to go right back out there.
Mm-hmm.
That showed it by the end of the game. They were gassed because they were on the field for so damn long.
Oh yeah, I mean, partially their own doing, and it's partially we'll talk more about the change in philosophy that has clearly occurred, and was no more evident that this is actually the true philosophy than this past Saturday. Mm-hmm. But so we go. You're right, we get that, and then Notre Dame starts ripping off the long drives and marching it down the field, starting to run the ball effectively as we get more tired.
At this point, 10-0, right? I just want to.
Yeah, we're up 10-0. Yeah. They march down then. I'm gonna bring up my play-by-play now. So we're up 10-0. Gotta get through these. Up 10-0. They score a touchdown. We punt. They took on a 13-play, 75-yard, 7.5-minute drive. They score after we get the big run, which I mean, at that point, our defense, like you can tell, and I said it then, I was like, our defense is done. Like they're gonna give up scores the rest of the night. Unfortunately, fortunately, it was only 2 more possessions. We punt on a decent drive. I mean, I guess we get a few plays off on the drive. Then another long 11-play, Was it 11 play 96-yard drive that takes 6.5 minutes. So there's 14 minutes between those two drives, the two touchdown drives. Yeah, that's the whole quarter. And that's just in the second half. So clearly the defense is shot, and we're thinking we have to score on this next drive. We have to score a touchdown because we're not getting another stop.
Yep.
We get down for the second time in the red zone, 4th and 1, after we get stuffed on a 3rd and 1. Both times we got stuffed on a run on 3rd and 1. This time, though, he got a little cute threw a formation out that we hadn't seen all year with Travion almost as a wingback and then doing the old wingback dive. That gets just totally stuffed because it's slow developing and clearly isn't our bread and butter. 4th and 1. Now, what did Lou Holtz say about us? In case you didn't hear it, that we are soft, that Ryan Day's teams are soft and lose games because they're soft. 4th and 1 comes and we run a goddamn end around. And I have some personal story about this. This reminded me of my senior year, our first loss of the season we had. We were down 21-0, got it back to 28-21 in the fourth quarter. Had our tailback that was going to Miami Oxford, was like a high 3-star recruit. And we run an end around on a 4th and 1 inside their like 25-yard line and get stuffed. And it totally like ended the game for us. We fell apart after that. And this looked like it was going to be that moment, Casey. We run that end around. It's soft. It's a soft call. And that's when I fire off a text to my other group text. Just fire this asshole. Like, this isn't going to be us. What were you thinking in that moment?
Oh, it was – I was furious. I was pounding. Like, when I take out my anger, I just go over to my leather chair and just smack the freaking arm. I can't scream because my kids are asleep, although I did scream a little bit. But I'm thinking, the defense is tired as hell. This was our chance. We were right there. We got to get a stop. And I knew that's the first down was going to be critical.
Oh, yeah. And it was such a backbreaker because, like I said, at this point, we know that D's gas. And I was like, man, they're just going to run this clock out. Like, they're going to get 3 first downs or whatever they need to get. Just pounding us. We're not going to stop them. They're going to go for it on 4th and 1. We're not going to stop them. But Notre Dame, they rip off an 11-yard run on their first play. Oh no, they hit a first down pass because they come out passing for some odd reason, but they hit it, and you think, well, yep, that one definitely they're not going to do that again. Then they rip off an 11-yard run for another first down real easy, which maybe helps us. We use our first timeout. Our second time out of the game. Oh, yeah, back up here. Another bone to pick here, Ryan Day. We also, before that 4th down play, tried to do the old make them jump and end up wasting a timeout because how often does that actually work? Like, everybody knows you're trying to do that crap all the time.
Yeah. Almost never.
And you're wasting a timeout, and you have 3 left. If you don't succeed, then you can actually stop the clock enough to have plenty of time left. Yeah. Unless you burn a timeout there. Terrible clock management today. We've seen this before. Ugh.
Back to where we were in the game.
Yeah.
Getting first downs was actually a good thing for us.
Yes.
Because get to like 2nd and 1, and then they run another play and get first down, then that probably would have ended the game.
Yeah.
But the fact that keep starting over on first down was actually a good thing. All right.
Right. So now we're back. First down. They run a play that had been effective earlier, a fake handoff to the right, try to hand back to the left. JT freaking blows it up. Huge play because it puts them in 2nd and 15. Clock's ticking, and then Notre Dame shoots themselves in the foot. They call pass play. Now they think it's a very safe pass play. It's a screen, except JT's waiting on it and almost picks the damn thing off again. But at least he knocks it down. Incomplete pass, stops the clock, gives us a free timeout basically. Gives us the chance to win the game now because now it's 3rd and 15. Very unlikely. You're not doing anything crazy, which they don't. They just run the ball, and then we kind of mismanage the time again because we don't use our freaking timeout.
I was freaking losing my. I'm thinking this is when you need that kid that plays NCAA football or Madden or whatever and knows when to use your timeouts. Like, you control the freaking clock when you have the ball. You can throw it to the boundaries. You can freaking spike it if you have to. Like. What are you doing? And
the rules are still last 2 minutes. Clock stops on a first down.
Yeah.
So you got it's made. That time, those 35 seconds or whatever, are way more precious than that timeout at that point in the game.
Oh yeah.
You can't get that time back.
Saying, oh well, it turned out to be good because he had it to save that grounding call. No, there would have been 50 seconds left instead of 15.
Yes.
So,
and then you run off because it's just a clock run. You lose like 10 seconds on the clock
Yeah.
run. Yeah. So it doesn't matter then.
no,
That's still a plus. That's still a plus 25 second. So
exactly.
go after yourself. Anybody who thought that.
Yeah.
But so we end up getting the ball back then with minute 26 left on the clock. And then comes the drive.
What are we on? 35-yard line ish.
Yes, 35. We're on 35. I'm nuts. 15 play drive in the last minute 26. Kyle Mccord basically only completes big passes. There's no like easy. There's 1 second down pass he completes, and it was a hard pass. But it's basically all incomplete, third down completion or fourth down completion. Makes a bad choice, but he kind of had to on the intentional grounding. But we get to the third, and after the intentional grounding, we get the freaking 3rd and 19, and that is a hell of a throw, hell of a play, hell of a catch.
Before that, though, he got bailed out. He threw a give to end the game.
Yeah.
They just screwed the pooch.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Which that's another one that's going to be forgotten because we won the game.
Yep.
But I'm going to give McCord a lot of props. 5 for 14 isn't great, but under the circumstances and the way Indy's D was playing, and Marvin's hurt, so he's not like getting open as easily. Hell of a drive. First time in this kind of spot, too. Has to galvanize him, has to galvanize the team. Great throw, gets us down to the 1. Now, we spike it with 7 seconds left. Now, here's also I'm going to have a little bit of bone to pick with the day. The first sequence, back in the first half, when we get it on 3rd and 1, we run the ball straight at it, don't get it, and then what we've done all year on 4th and short, when we failed on 3rd and short to get it via running, play action.
Yeah.
And they're waiting on it, so play's totally blown up. And I would have been too. I'd have been thinking they didn't get it, they're going to go play action like they have all year, which we did. So this time we get down there, we do the appropriate thing and throw it on first down because you got to get two shots at it.
You have to throw it on that down. You have to.
Have to get 2 cracks at it. And it's the play I hate, a rollout thing that everybody does. And it seems like it never works yet. Everybody does it all the time.
They're just trying to be quick to guarantee get another play.
So then it's 4th and 1. Notre Dame calls a freaking timeout. Still only ends up running out 10 guys. But 4th and 1, honestly, I was thinking, you got to run it. I think it's your best chance. You're too close to pass it with any confidence. And they've been eating up your short passes all night. And we do, and man, we best by the hair on our chinny chin. I mean, his knee's probably that much. I'm doing it like an inch off the ground as he extends and gets the ball across the goal line barely. And touchdown Buckeyes. I'm running around the house just going nuts.
I went outside. My neighbor had actually knocked on the door. I was like 15 seconds behind, apparently. I saw him walking away, opened the front door, went out, and woke up our whole neighborhood probably.
That's how it should be done. And yeah, all of a sudden the sins of day and the sins of the team beforehand all gone like that as we are able to just snag. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Just snag victory from the jaws of defeat, and everything's still in front of us now for sure.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I was saying the other day or yesterday, right after the game, I don't think I've ever seen anywhere. I'm sure it's happened before, but literally on the 1 yard line, needing a touchdown, last play of the game, and you score. Like a walk-off touchdown like that is very, very, very rare.
My wife said she's like, it's like a Disney movie right now. Yeah. It comes down to the last second, which it never really does.
Of course, they had to. And by the way, what kind of run play takes 2 seconds? That makes no sense whatsoever.
It doesn't, but I guess because it crossed the line and the play technically is dead immediately when it crosses the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless there was like 3.9 seconds or something, and
right.
But I thought that was complete bullshit. But
we've seen the homers things going on, but Buckeyes win. Buckeyes win. Thank God. I don't have to kill myself. I don't have to send threatening emails to Ryan Day. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Uh, it was. I mean, the relief that poured over me. I was like, this is just amazing, and I hope this is what galvanizes us, because the game that we played is very similar, especially what Notre Dame did, to what Scum's going to try to do to us.
It is.
So now it's time to nitpick, though. And everybody should be enjoying this. I'll say this to it. There's a section of our fan base that has grown more and more. And I'm a person that gets pretty negative during games. I enjoy it. I feed off of it. It's kind of fun to me, funny. But I will always revel in every single win that we get, because I remember the Tressel years, and that's what it was. Like, this is the mindset. I said it after the Youngstown State game. This is my mindset this year. We're in Tressel years. Just win, baby. Just win, and we'll let the rest take care of itself. But there's a section of our fan base that is just miserable, even when we win a top 10 road night game against the team we hate.
There's a that are like hating on us right now, like hating on the team right now. I'm like, we just freaking won our hardest non-conference game, probably the biggest marquee win of in the whole country outside of Texas beating Alabama. But Alabama's hasn't looked great, although they look decent this weekend. But how can you shit on that at all?
Why would you want to? Why are you a fan if you're going to get upset about wins like this?
You're not really a fan in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, we can critique, and we're going to, because there's a lot to critique.
Oh, yeah.
But in the moment, you should always from be ready to celebrate any Buckeye victory, let alone a top 10 road night game. Jesus Christ, these are hard to come by, people.
Yeah, it's usually one a year, maybe two.
Yeah. Okay, that said, I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it. It's time for some airing of grievances. And we're going to have to bring back the what are you doing? And I'm going to start with the fourth downs, but I'm going to start with the second downs. Casey, and that seems weird, but it was driving me apeshit. There's two things that have driven me apeshit all season about Day, and it's play calling. He loves to run into the short boundary for some mass reason. I know it's like some sort of numbers game. I've read the articles. I guess it's a numbers game, except for when you bring in speed and what are you taught, and you may not know this, what are you taught as a defender all the time? All the time. For when you're taught tackling, like the first time. Sidelines the 12th man. Sidelines 12th defender. So if you're already starting near my 12th defender, I can just push you out of bounds. And you're running stretch plays, I can get maybe running a little bit like the B gap, maybe the C gap, but you're running stretch plays? What the hell?
The only numbers part of it is there's an odd amount of people on the field for the defense.
Right.
At least on the wide side. But
right, except for that 12th man there is evening out the numbers. So, but the other one is second and long. Day's running it almost every damn time, because he's not wanting to get into like third and really long with Kyle McCord at quarterback. Not like the way he did with CJ Stroud. You know how many times we had second and 10 or longer in this game, Casey? Before the last drive. This last drive goes out the window because you can't run the ball, but you can't afford to lose the clock.
I do, because you already told me. But
oh, come on. Play it up here.
6.
Oh, well, good hell of a guess. 6 times, and every single time we ran the ball the next play. If I'm picking up on it, and you're picking up on it, and half the damn message board I'm on is picking up on it, you can bet your sweet ass these guys getting paid millions of dollars to coordinate defenses are picking up on it. And it's funny because it's like kind of doing the opposite of what you should do. And I think that's partially why he does it too, is like, oh, they won't expect me to run it every time on second down because it's second long. I should be throwing it. This should get me like 6 yards and put me in a third and manageable. And it's getting like 1, 2, 3 yards, maybe. Like we had like one, I think the first time we did it was 2nd and 13 on the very first drive. We threw that terrible wide receiver screen to open the game that we were complaining about. And it was like a 7-yard gain then. But other than that, they were totally ineffective too, because they know it's coming.
Oh, it was driving me freaking bonkers too, man. And I will say, I guess the glass half full in me, of course, is looking at last year. We had, Heisman candidate, obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He trusted 2nd and 10. CJ, if you give him 2 attempts at a first down, he's going to get it, throwing for it twice. And he hasn't he obviously hasn't had that confidence in McCord, but maybe he will now. At the end of that last drive, he shows he has what it takes. I mean, how many almost game-ending times was there when it was 3rd and long, 4th and long, and he came through? So maybe he'll start going away from that. But it doesn't make any sense to me. At best, you're going to be at 3rd and 8. What's the difference between 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 10? I mean,
A lot.
like, I don't get it.
Yeah. And it's also like, well, if you're struggling that bad on 2nd down too, maybe start being more conservative on 1st down and be more effective on 1st down. Because that's a lot of 2nd and longs to be facing, to be frank. To 2nd and 10s and longer, or 6 of them, that's a lot. And that's why it's hard to stay on the field.
If you're 2nd and 7 and then you run it and you get a couple, then 3rd and 5, the whole freaking playbook's open, basically.
Offensively, also, the rest of it, O-line plays decent. They have some bad penalties, some questionable, maybe shouldn't be called at times. Marvin kind of gets shut down, but they have an All-American dude. That Morrison kid, he's the best corner we saw last year, I thought, besides maybe against Michigan and Will Johnson. And I think he will be this year too, except for maybe Michigan and Will Johnson. But they basically just bracketed him with a safety all night long. It was tough for him to get open, but it allowed Mecca and Stover both to have huge games. Stover's already got 17 catches, and he didn't have any against Youngstown State. Having some killer games for tight ends at Ohio State. He's going to shatter our tight end receiving record right now if he can stay healthy. It's not. I don't have a ton of complaints about the offense because they kind of did what was in front of them. They made finishing the 4th down drives. We have 2 good drives that end in the red zone on 4th down, which you just can't have happen. But part of that's play calling, I think, too. So there's my other bone to pick is the play calling on 3rd and 4th down. And, we make the last one and then he's screaming how tough we are. And I want us to be tough. And I don't think we're soft like the same way that Holtz did. In terms of like physically, I mean, like go watch an NFL game. How many 3rd and 1s do they convert running the ball? Not a lot. Because it's hard when people know that you're going to do it, and unless you have a dominant line, and we don't because we're inexperienced, we haven't recruited well. There's lots of reasons, and the play calling is also not helping out at all on 3rd and 1. Like we tip our hand too often with formations. But if you're going to call jet sweep, maybe you shouldn't on 4th and 1. That's why people are calling you soft, Ryan. That's why people are calling you soft, and you were on that play. That was soft.
The thing I don't get, and maybe there's something I'm missing here, but I swear 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, quarterback sneak works like 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
especially now that you can push them.
Yeah. Like, I guess, McCord's probably a better, I don't know, man. I just think that's going to work almost every time, even though they know it's coming. Like
if you do it right, yeah. If you put Chip Trayanum and Mayan Williams behind him, and they're pushing McCord's ass like the Philadelphia Eagles do, I mean, the only thing I guess you'd worry about is a fumble, like on the snap, just because it's something we don't do a lot. But practice it until you don't worry about the fumble.
I bet we converted a lot more often than we did last night. In those short yardages, we were probably like 2 out of 5 or something like that.
If that, I mean, I can think of 0 for 4 just off of just those 2 4th downs. If you're talking about the 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s, I mean, without the sneaks, 1 for 6 that I remember. Maybe we had some conversions somewhere that I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter.
But those should be like 75%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, we go 10 for 17 on 3rd down, so you can't be like too pissed about it, I guess. But
what you should do, like not.
It's not. That's above average. I mean, you're over 50%, like well over 50% there. You're doing pretty well. Notre Dame went 5 for 10, so we actually did better than they did, and they were 0 for 2 on 4th down. We were 1 for 3. I mean, the stats are almost like incredibly similar, although our running stats are a little inflated because we got it all on one run. Half our yards, we had 27 carries for 126 yards, 61 come on one, so 60. Another 26 carries for only 65 yards. That's not getting it done. But that's going to be the problem with a guy like McCord at quarterback in the offense we run and the O-line we have. Like, I don't see it changing. Like, our best bet is to have Travion in there because we're not going to run it consistently against good teams, but he can hit the home run. Defensively, we held Notre Dame to freaking 14 points, and people are still shitting on them today.
Yeah.
We are a conservative defense now. That's clearly what we're doing. Both, I think it's affecting the D-line sacks because we should have more than 0 from our DNs at this point in the year.
Yeah.
But it clearly is like you're going to maintain gaps. You're going to play. We're going to make them drive the field. And Notre Dame is about the best equipped team there is to just drive down the field against us. Besides Scum later on in the year. But it's look how tough it was for them to score because they shouldn't have been so aggressive, and then they probably get to 20. But if we can hold them to 14, why can't we hold everybody else to at least under 20 or around 20 at best?
Yeah, I was thinking just earlier, like we have one of the best defenses in the country. I'd say for sure top 10, maybe top 5. And it's only because of our defensive line that I'm not saying we're the best freaking defense.
Mm-hmm.
The top 3 defenses in the entire country might be in the Big Ten, and we're going to play the other 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could possibly shit on this defense. The only reason they gave up, they were just gassed. The offense wasn't doing them any favors. I mean, that Travion's long run was awesome, but it kind of screwed them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And then then they gave up the big drive, but it was already at that point they'd been out there so long because they had to start on the second half. Getting off on third down is going to have to improve to beat Scum because Scum will not stop running it. They are not going to do what Notre Dame did. They're just going to run it straight at you, and maybe it wears our ass out, but hopefully we have the lead and we can get them out of that because I'm still confident we can beat MacArthur if we force him to beat us. But that's it. I mean, Ransom has a great game in run support, especially like 13 tackles all over the field. The D line, I thought the D tackles played great for most of the night until they kind of got gassed towards the end. I guess the critique I'd have mainly is like bring the rotation back. I mean, this is a Knowles thing. He is not like to rotate guys at all, and that's part of getting gassed. And we have, but I don't know where our depth is, to be honest, at a lot of positions. But I think linebacker. I mean, they did rotate linebackers some. Cody Simon was out there. Hicks was out there for a couple plays too. Everybody else though is out there almost the whole night, and I don't think we have the depth at D tackle, to be honest with you, which sucks because that's the guys that kind of need the blows more. But I don't think Hamilton's all their successful runs were coming, or at least early in the game, were when he was in the game, which is problematic. But Ty Leak's a beast. Mike Hall's a beast. They're making plays all night. The DNs at least, I mean, Sawyer didn't do anything, but JT's all over the place in the run game. That's why he still could be a high draft pick. Maybe just some more rotation at Jack Sawyer's position and give JT a blow because, I mean, you're going to get worn out playing this many plays and that many runs. It's going to be tough to do all season.
I saw they both were on the field literally every snap. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
They did. But I've never seen a box score with so few guys with tackles because there aren't any special teams tackles to have either. There's only 13 guys that recorded a tackle in the game for the Buckeyes.
So just one more note real quick. It was a great win. There was stuff to work on and all that. But think about it from Notre Dame's perspective, man. You bring in this freaking 6th-year quarterback, this veteran guy. You have us at home at night. You're against a rookie quarterback. And McCord outplays him. He outplayed Hartman. I mean, Hartman had a touchdown, but when it came down to it, McCord played better at the end of the game than Hartman.
Yeah, I mean, yes, no. I think we kind of forced Hartman to take and they tried to do the same to us. It was pretty similar. We just threw the ball more because we had to at the end. The passing attempts got up there real quick at the end there. But you're right, he made the play. I'm just thinking from them, I mean, that's the problem with having a first-time head coach and what happened at the end of the game. Difficulties there. But we're back real quick. So we were moving on to talk about Freeman being a first-time head coach and how Notre Dame is lamenting this loss so much. And it's like these just aren't jobs to cut your teeth. And that's why I think everybody's so hard on Day. He's still making mistakes that Saban made when he was coaching at Kent State and Michigan State and not at LSU and Bama. Now he's refined and ready to just dominate these last-minute situations. It's just tough. It's something you have to I don't know how long you can roll with it though, because these Notre Dame fans are distraught, just as we would have been had this. I mean, some people are still distraught, even though we won the game.
Yeah, like if the exact same thing happened to us and we have 10 men on the field at the biggest moment of your season of the game, it would have heads would be rolling. I mean, I can't even imagine. And it's at home. Like, you had us on the ropes. You bring in this quarterback. Like, you got everything. We're probably the weakest Ohio State team in maybe since 11. Like, this is – you got us. And they just blew it.
Yeah, they did. It's tough. I'm glad we didn't blow it, because now the national championship hopes are still alive, so I can still ask you, are you more or less confident after this game? Because there's reasons for both. I think I'm slightly more confident, though. I'll say that first, because of what McCord did, and I have more faith in him than I did before. Still not sure about our O-line, because, like I said, we didn't run the ball well besides one play, pretty much. And they pass protected okay, but we also had some penalties, and the refs were letting everything go in this game, letting it be very physical, so holdings weren't getting called. But, yeah, overall, I think with McCord taking us there at the end, I'm a little more confident.
I'll say slightly more, too. Like, definitely not worse. If anything, the same, but I'll say slightly more. I mean, we got that marquee win. We're going to have that in our belt the rest of the year, obviously. They can refer back to it. Hopefully they keep winning. But they got a tough schedule, too. I think they got Duke next.
Yeah, they're at Duke.
No slouch there. So I could see them losing next week to them. I would not be shocked. We beat them twice, essentially. But, yeah, it was a great win. I thought Michigan, they struggled with Rutgers, even though they pulled away at the end. They were kind of doing that last year, too, though. And I put too many eggs in that basket, like looking at how they struggled.
Transitive property does not apply to sports still.
It definitely doesn't, but I swear, though, like they were doing that last year where they'd looked like crap in the first half against mediocre teams and then just kept running the ball, and by the end it's a 24-point game. But I haven't been that impressed with them. Penn State has looked better than Michigan.
I told you Penn State was going to win the conference before the season. And I'm still leaning that way, but that's going to be a doozy here in a few weeks. A doozy.
But I will say some of the stuff that Notre Dame was doing at the end of the game to give us a chance reminded me of James Franklin.
It did. No, totally. I was about to say that. James Franklin-esque. And that jet sweep by us was a James Franklin move where you just go out, like, don't do this, try to get too creative, or you just not thinking straight. Yeah, the 10 guys on the field, like that was a Franklin thing. That's the one thing that gives me confidence, is that he'll do something like that and we'll have a chance to win at the end.
And our defense, man, I think it's going to be probably a very similar game.
Oh, yes, very low scoring. Their defense is nice. Looking forward to it, though. This is what it's all about, playing big games in the Big Ten. All right, I'm just Matt, though. This has been The Dyerwolf. Thanks for coming by. Like, subscribe.
Hey, guys. Whoa, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man